Fala galera, meu nome é Bruno, esse aqui é o Porquê Metal, e hoje eu tenho a honra e o prazer de receber o James Mcbain, responsável pelo Hellripper. Ele é guitarrista, ele é vocalista, ele é multi-instrumentista e responsável por tudo na banda. Ele lançou ano passado um dos discos mais legais do ano, Warlock's Green and Withered Hags, e agora tá em turnê, então a gente vai conversar com ele sobre isso. So, good morning James, actually, good afternoon for you. How are you doing today?
Hello, man. Yeah, good afternoon here. Morning to you, man. Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. Yeah, all's good. It's been a busy couple of weeks or busy summer, I guess. But yeah, I'm all good. Just getting back into the swing of things now with a little break in between shows. So it's back to packing orders and dealing with all the admin stuff related to Hellripper and then writing the new album.
So I like to start by asking about the tour. You have been touring non-stop in 2024 with the Eurogold Summer Massacre tour, and I even got the chance to watch you at Wacken, one of the best concerts from the whole festival, and definitely the wildest. And 2 nights ago, you have played your biggest headliner concert in Glasgow, Scotland, your
Hmm.
home country. So I'd like to ask you about these two concerts first. How important was this last concert in Glasgow, and how was playing Wacken?
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I'll start with Vakken. I mean, of course, we played one of the smaller stages. We didn't play the main stage, but it's still Vakken nonetheless. And I've said to people before that I remember back when I was young, like getting into guitar, getting into metal and rock kind of music. I remember watching like sets at Vakken, especially the Airborne live. I think it was 2009, the bonus DVD you got with Running Wild, the album. I remember watching that DVD endlessly, and playing along to it on guitar and just thinking it was so cool and, thinking it would be how ridiculous and amazing it would be to play at Vakken or something. And I didn't really, expect that to happen at the time. And so, yeah, it's amazing to play such a festival like Vakken. We played a bunch of other big festivals as well, Brutal Assault, Bloodstock, Partisan. So it was a cool summer in that respect. We played a lot of cool stuff. And yeah, I'm just like, yeah, grateful that people showed an interest in coming to see us and having us. And Vakken, yeah, the show was amazing itself. We had a bigger crowd than I expected, and yeah, they were all wild. There was loads of mosh pits and general wildness, I guess. And then yeah, going to Glasgow, yeah, we played Glasgow 2 days ago, which was our biggest headline show to date, which is amazing. It's sold out as well, so it was over 500 people in Glasgow, which again, we've being playing shows in Aberdeen and in Glasgow and Edinburgh and stuff all over the years. Especially coming up as a local band, at the start and playing in my first bands and stuff like that, like 10 years ago, whatever. I never imagined we'd be able to headline a venue like Slay, the venue that we played, and sell it out. We've played a headline show in Scotland just about each year, I think, other than the two kind of pandemic years, I think. And it's gotten a little bigger each time. Our first one was 2019, I believe, the first Glasgow headline show, and that was like we sold that out, and it was to 80 people or something. We were very happy about that at the time. The next year, I think it was like 200 people or something, and we kind of stayed 200 to 250 or something for the past 2 years, and then 2 or 3 years, and yeah. We decided, and the promoter, Craig, who's put on all these shows, or most of the Scottish shows, for the past 5 years, he was like, yeah, let's do it. Why not try, see how far we can go right now and do a bigger venue like Slate to 500 and over 500 people. And I thought, yeah, I guess so, we'll see how it goes. And yeah, it was amazing that it sold out. And yeah, as always, the Glasgow crowd, the Scottish crowd are wild, loads of stage diving, crowd surfing, circle pits non-stop, just rowdy behaviour. But it was a good night. It's always a good night in Scotland for Scottish shows. I love playing local shows, I guess you could call it. Those have been, yeah, it's been amazing.
That's great. And you also played Mexico for a change, like coming to
Yeah.
Central America. So how was it? And was there any talks about Hellripper doing a concert in Brazil or South America? Or is that something that you're looking forward to do in the future?
In regards to like South America and stuff like that, yeah, we will definitely do it in the future. We've been in talks with a few people and stuff over the years. It's just never aligned. Hellripper's been around for a while, but we've only really started touring properly in the past couple of years, you know, kind of touring extensively and more shows and stuff each year. Up until the last couple, we were doing maybe 5 to 10 shows per year, you know, and they were mostly kind of UK or the odd festival in Europe or something. So, you know, we're still kind of trying to like do stuff in Europe, you know, get our name out there in Europe. And yeah, so our schedule has been absolutely full, basically, for the past couple of years, you know, with regards to what we can do and availability and stuff. So yeah, South America's just never happened. Same with North America. We've been in talks and stuff with that for ages, and it's just never been able to happen. But yeah, we got offered the show in Mexico, Candelabrum Fest, and we were available, and the offer made sense, and it was crazy, you know, to be asked to come over to Mexico. It was like a 6-day journey, 6-day overall. We were traveling and we were only there for 2 days, you know. So it was a long way for us. First show out of Europe, and it was amazing. It was one of my favorite shows of all time. You know, we had a great crowd. Everyone was very welcoming. You know, the fans, just the people, the organizers, everyone there was very accommodating, very welcoming, very enthusiastic for our show. You know, we went, you know, we just decided to watch the festival, you know, a little the day before. So we went out and kind of just hung around and had a good day. And I think, you know, we took over like 600 photos or something with fans, I would imagine, you know, just around, which was crazy, you know. It was never ending. It was amazing just seeing people, you know, from so far away being so into the music and so interested in seeing us. And yeah, again, that show was amazing. We had like 3 or 4 circle pits going on at the same time. There was people with flags, people with goat masks, constant screaming, you know. Really cool to do our first show out of Europe and our first show in Mexico, and really glad for the response. It was a really good response and a really fun weekend for us, just messing around.
That's awesome. And you talked about a new album. So my question was in regard of, did you have time to write more songs other than the new single released, Fork Song Messiah? And also, what do you do between concerts in such a busy tour such as the Euro Gold Summer Massacre?
Yeah, unfortunately, no, there was no real time to work on songs. I mean, I take my laptop with me, and any ideas I kind of write down. But when I'm on tour and in between shows and stuff, I mean, especially on a tour, kind of like an extensive tour with very little breaks, like breaks in the show days, it's kind of get to the venue early, set up and stuff, set up all the merch, the equipment, sound check, and then we're at the venue all day. Then when we leave the venue, it's to the hotel and then repeat. You know, there's no time to really do anything other than when we have a couple days break or whatever. And even then, we're usually traveling a further distance. You know, usually those days are kind of spent mostly driving. Maybe you have the evening free or something. It depends. So yeah, I didn't really make much progress on the new album over the past couple months, unfortunately. Though since I've gotten back from the main bulk of tour, you know, now it's just shows kind of on weekends for the rest of the year, I guess. I've been trying to kind of get back into the swing of things and writing very slowly, I guess, in between catching up with orders and all that. But yeah, I'm enjoying writing for the new album. Yeah, we released a new single as well a couple weeks ago now. Kind of, that's nothing to do with the album. That's just like a standalone single. I wanted to just get something out there. You know, it was a song I written a little while back and a cover song that I enjoyed recording. And I just wanted to get something out there, you know, get some new material out there. And I wanted to try something different. You know, our label contract expired. And before I signed to a new label, I decided just to release this single, you know, as a 7-inch, kind of independently. You know, I haven't done that before. So I thought it was a nice change, something to do, something different, you know. And then, yeah, we signed to a new label, which will be announced at some point later for the new album. But yeah, I've got 2 songs written so far musically, and I think they're sounding cool. One is very kind of Hellripper sounding. One is probably the most different song I've done for Hellripper, so it's kind of interesting in that regard, I guess. And then, yeah, I'm making progress slowly. Now that the majority of stuff's finished, I hope I'll be getting back into the swing of things, and the next few months I'll have a couple more songs kind of recorded and written and whatever. But yeah, who knows? It depends on how the process goes. If it's a smooth, or if I get too caught up on trying to find a certain sound or something or whatever. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm looking forward to having a new album out. I hope next year. That would be ideal.
Amazing. So in your latest album, and Warlock's Green and Withered Hags, you bring both your roots from blackened and speed metal and blackened thrash metal we hear in your first records, but also including more layers to it, with bigger songs, slower tempos sometimes, and even adding bagpipes to the title track. How does that evolution came to be for you? Was it a natural path or something that you always wanted to go to?
Yeah, it was a natural path. I mean, in the beginning, I was kind of writing for that album, and I had it in my mind that I wanted to do kind of a more punk influenced kind of shorter song, more straight to the point kind of thing. Then I wrote 2 or 3 songs, I think, and when I listened back, they were just I didn't like them. I thought they sounded uninspired or something. They sounded like kind of Hellripper songs that I'd already done, but just not as good, in my opinion. And so I decided to get rid of them. I deleted them, kept some parts, but I got rid of them and I decided to start again and try something completely different. I thought, I'm a big fan of all kinds of music, not just this particular style and its related kind of subgenres. So, I'm a massive fan of, death metal, black metal, thrash, speed, heavy metal, but also rock, pop. I decided, I've written a lot of this kind of music, and I thought maybe I'm a bit more able or a bit more confident in my songwriting ability that I could incorporate other things, before I don't think I'd be as confident, trying to incorporate bagpipes or a section inspired by Agalock or Oasis or something. I didn't think I'd be confident enough to try that and make it sound good or coherent or anything before. But this time I thought, let's go for it. Let's try. I'm not enjoying the other way of working where I'm kind of limiting myself. It feels uninspired. And so let's kind of go all out. Let's see what I can do, try and come up with something a little different, especially different in regards to Hellripper's music, like bagpipes. There's quite a lot of slow bits with things that I haven't really done before. There's acoustic guitar, which I've never really done before, stuff like that, the song structures are a bit more complex, I guess, for lack of a better word. The songs are a bit longer. The title track is very kind of Justice for All inspired, mixed with like Bathory's kind of mid-paced kind of epic songs. I wanted to try and bring all these different influences in. So it was a natural evolution. I just had to kind of get into that mindset, I guess, and yeah, I enjoyed it so much. It was my favorite recording process that I've done, recording and writing process, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. It's my favorite thing that I've done so far. Everyone says that with their latest stuff, but I think it's the best stuff. I think, people seem to enjoy it. It's opened up a lot of doors for us, and hopefully the next album carries on in that kind of, not a similar style. There's some new different stuff on the new album as well, but hopefully the next album just kind of evolves sound-wise from that, and people like that as well.
Yeah, but having that good reception from Warlock's Green, you feel more confidence for your next writing sessions to go for different genres and
Yeah.
go wild for a bit different from the Hellripper main.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I guess it helps that people liked it. For the most part, it's like, I write the music that I enjoy, and I hope other people enjoy it too. And it's good that they did with the last album, because you never know what people are going to say. You might think you've written the best song ever, and people may hate it. You might think you've written the worst song ever and people love it, so it's always difficult. Like, everyone's got different perspectives and preferences and different things that they like, which is the cool thing about music as well, and which is why I like to put different stuff in there. But there's also the kind of, like, there's a limit as well. I don't want to go crazy, and Hellripper just sounds totally different and stuff. Hellripper will always be a speed metal band. That's the one limitation, if you can call it that. I want it to be a speed metal band at its core, and then bring in these different influences and different styles to complement that, to make the speed metal better, I guess. If that makes sense. It's I don't want to suddenly put out an album that is, pure black metal or pure thrash, or I want to retain the essence of Hellripper, I guess. So there's a line I don't want to cross where it just becomes incoherent and ridiculous and doesn't sound like Hellripper and sounds like whatever. But it is fun to try different stuff.
And speaking of different stuff, along with your latest single, you also released Punk Rock Classic, a cover
Yeah.
from Red Hot Chili Peppers, which came as a good surprise, and it also sounded great.
Thank
So
you.
I'd like to know, how was your upbringing in music? What did you grow up listening to? What got you into metal? What got you into guitar playing?
Yeah. So getting into music, I believe when I was a kid, I remember like just seeing like randomly on TV, like these shows in the UK, like Top of the Pops and stuff like that, where they would just have, it was like they would just have like artists live in the studio, or miming, playing what was in the charts at the moment, and then there was music videos and stuff on the music channels and all that kind of stuff in the UK that I discovered and I really liked. I just liked music immediately. I remember at school we were made to sing some Beatles song for like a teacher's wedding or something, and I loved the song. I went home. It was "Love Me Do" by the Beatles, and I went home, like 5 years old or something, asking my parents, like, "Have you ever heard of the Beatles? Like, they're this cool band." Of course, they had heard of the Beatles, surprisingly. So yeah, and then my dad had a few Beatles CDs and a lot of like kind of CDs of his own that he like showed me. So there was like the Beatles, Police. My mum liked Queen. What else? Yeah, Simply Red, stuff like that. Just kind of pop, rock, anything like the Eagles, Dire Straits. And yes, I got into music like that. And I remember the first album I bought was, or I got my parents to buy because I saw the music video for By the Way by the Chili Peppers when that first came out. That was the first kind of CD that I owned or got for my parents. So that was 2002 or 3, whenever that came out. And yeah, from there I kind of, just as a kid tried to listen to more music, and then the internet came out. I discovered the internet, like YouTube and all that kind of stuff. And that was around the same time there was a big indie scene in the UK. So there was like the Arctic Monkeys, Editors, Franz Ferdinand, and then you had like bands like the Strokes and stuff in the US, and everyone was kind of into that in the UK. So I got into that. That was kind of guitar music. I was always preferred the guitar. I got into that and kind of started getting into guitar around that time. Not very seriously, not very good, but I kind of wanted to learn, and my parents got me a guitar, and I kind of made horrible noise for a few years, kind of not learning seriously. But then, metal wise, I was always aware of metal because my uncle had a whole bunch of vinyl, and my mum would like tell me he listened to like Black Sabbath and Judas Priest and all that kind of stuff. And so I was aware of that. And I remember looking through his vinyl as a kid, and there was like, Sabbath, Priest, Dio, Discharge, Ozzy Osbourne live albums and stuff. I can't remember everything. Thin Lizzy. So I was kind of aware of that, but I never got into it at the time. So I was aware of metal. And then kind of over the years, I got into heavier music and, started listening to like Iron Maiden, Sabbath. I remember discovering Metallica and Megadeth. I remember hearing Peace Sells and Justice for All, the songs, somewhere, I can't remember where, thinking it was the greatest thing ever. And then immediately the next day, going out to buy those two albums. That was when I was about 13, 14, something like that. And just from there with the internet, around that time, 2009, 10, there was all this new wave of traditional metal and new wave of thrash. So there was bands like Enforcer, Steelwing, Warbringer, Gamma Bomb, Havoc, Evil, Skullfist, all this kind of stuff. Just discovering that kind of stuff on related videos on YouTube, and then, like forums and Facebook stuff at the time, people, recommending all this stuff. And I just got into heavier and heavier music and more underground and whatever, you know, started with Metallica and Megadeth, and then you hear Slayer, and then Cannibal Corpse, Venom, Bloodbath, Opeth, you know, and then you kind of just go, like I said, like those newer bands like Warbringer and all that. And yeah, and it's just been like that from there. And that was around the time I started taking guitar seriously, when I discovered metal. You know, I loved Metallica and Megadeth so much. I thought, yeah, I really want to learn this on guitar. And it took me ages because I was horrible. And I remember learning For Whom the Bell Tolls, which is a relatively simple, slow song compared to most other thrash and stuff like that. And I remember taking like months to get anything sounding remotely listenable, you know. So I remember being horrible at guitar, and now I'm able to play stuff. It's cool. You know, I just remember that horrible struggle at the beginning, which if anyone asks me, you know, how long have you played guitar? How long did it take you to learn how to play and write music and stuff? I'm like, it took me ages. You have to, I mean, maybe some people can do it very quickly, but I would advise, yeah, just persevering and sticking with it, because I was horrible for years and years and years and years before I was okay, you know. And now here I am in Hellripper.
And when you started, how long were your training sessions?
For guitar, I never had lessons. I had a few lessons at school, but I didn't enjoy that at all. It was not my thing. It was kind of classical guitar, and I just wasn't interested in that kind of stuff at the time. You know, I just wanted to play Metallica and AC/DC and stuff like that, the Clash. You know, I just wanted to play the stuff that I liked. So it might have been beneficial for me, you know, if I carried on, but I hated it. I didn't enjoy it, and I think if I carried on, I wouldn't have played guitar. I hated those lessons. So yeah, mostly everything's like self-taught, I guess, basically for the most part. But yeah, I've never really had a practice routine. Like I've never went over scales, or I don't know anything at all about music theory, stuff like that. I have no idea. So I would just my way of playing was just kind of playing hours every night, just learning Slayer and Metallica and Megadeth and that kind of stuff. And yeah, over time, you know, that I think that you just get better, you get faster, you know. I mean, especially with like Slayer and Metallica and stuff, you're constantly like, the picking hand is very fast. I've always been a rhythm guitar player. Like I only play lead guitar in Hellripper because it's a one man thing, so I was kind of forced into doing it. I never bothered learning lead guitar or solos or anything when I was younger. You know, I had friends that were much better than me at lead guitar, and so I was happy to just do the rhythm, and that's what I still enjoy most. You know, I love riffs. I love writing riffs. I love just playing riffs. And yeah, like I say, yeah, playing lead guitar, I've had to develop my skill over the past few years because I'm in Hellripper and because I need to be the lead guitarist, and it's been fun. You know, so I'm still always learning, and like I say, I've got no idea about theory, so I write songs just by feel or ear or whatever. I don't know.
That's cool. And then speaking of your writing process, I have seen a video of you talking about the Nicola V track, and you have mentioned that in that song you have got some riffs and passages that were originally written for other songs but didn't quite fit.
Mhm.
And I thought that was pretty interesting. And I'd like to know, how does it feel for you to finally find a track for a riff or a solo that you have in your back pocket but couldn't find a song yet? And also, how
Yeah,
big is your database of riffs and passages that you keep in?
yeah. I've got thousands of different ideas, riffs in different folders. You know, kind of separated by different like styles and stuff. And I've got phones, you know, like that I've recorded riffs on like since like 20, I don't know, probably like since I started playing guitar, I guess. Like one of those old Sony or Ericsson Walkman phones. I've got one of them that I mean, I haven't turned it on in ages, but I remember, so it must have been what, 2008 or something. I remember recording this kind of riff, a very simple, basic riff. Like, I mean, it sounds horrible in the recording. I need to find the recording of it again. And I eventually used it for Hellripper in one of the songs, Black Mass Sacrifice, on the first EP. It's the intro riff for that song, and that was recorded when I was written when I was like 12 or 13 or something. So it's cool to finally have stuff in there, and it's so amazing to find stuff that I wrote, you know, 10, 15 years ago that I think can be turned into something. But yeah, there's always always stuff that I really like, but just doesn't fit something that I'm working on, which is frustrating because you're like, I have a good part here. This needs to be in a song, but you can't sacrifice the song to put in a part that doesn't work just because you want this part in the song, because then it will just make the song worse overall. Riffs I think are on their own are amazing, but any riff can be amazing in the correct context. It could just be a one note, like boom, like that, and that works in the context of a song. If you play that just regularly, you're like, this is nothing special. Again, yeah, the verse to For Whom the Bell Tolls, for example, that's just boom, boom, like that. And on its own, if you wrote that, you wouldn't think, but in context with a song, it's amazing. With vocals and stuff like that. Yeah, I've got thousands of riffs and random ideas from throughout the years, and yeah, it's so good when you finally find the right context for a part. I've got some stuff that I think is amazing, that I think is just so cool, and they were written like 6 years ago, and I haven't found the right place to put them in, which it just annoys me. Yeah, you've got to think about like the overall song for me to make the riffs fit in and make the riffs better. An amazing riff can be made even better with the right context. So yeah, there's always a bank to draw ideas from, which is cool. I think the worst is starting from nothing. That's always like the scariest kind of part. You're like, what do I do? Where do I go from? But having other stuff to draw from, you can kind of go, cool, this part is cool, but let's try it a different way, and you can adapt things and whatever. So yeah.
And you have lyrics that are based on Scottish folk legends like the Nicola Vida, which spoke about. You have a lyric based on a poem from Robert Burns in the title track from the latest album. And you even have a song based on Annelise Michel that people may know from The Exorcism of Emily Rose, but a true story about an exorcism gone wrong. So what I like to ask is, how important are the lyrics for you, and how is your process on writing them?
Yeah, so the lyrics I think are important. I like to write, try and write stuff that are a bit interesting, and usually I take stuff from history or films or true events, stuff like that, just and kind of adapt them. Sometimes it's also just fun to write, complete ridiculous, over the top, satanic, whatever, like None Fucking Armageddon 666. I mean just the title alone, it was just something fun to write, like just a bit ridiculous, a bit over the top. And I'm glad, I think the music of Hellripper kind of makes both work. There's some songs that sound a bit more musically, sound a bit more serious or whatever, a bit more layered, complex, all that kind of stuff. And some songs that are kind of simple rock and roll, punk, fun, that lend themselves to just over the top, kind of nonsense. So yeah, I like to have lyrics that fit, and that's why I usually take it. It's like kind of, even if it's like the historical stuff or Scottish stuff, it's always the darker side of that. Whether it's like the devil in Scotland or Macbeth, Stoorworm, Knuckle of E. It's all kind of the dark side of stuff because it fits the music. However, having said that, I do enjoy writing the music more, and I think the music is more important. The vocals do play a big role in the song, of course. It's one of the most important roles. And I place more emphasis on kind of a catchy vocal line or vocal melody, vocal hook, rather than the lyrics, I think that's more important, especially in this style of music where the vocals are all kind of screamed and growled, and a lot of the time a lot of people don't know what you're saying anyway. So I think the execution is more important than the kind of content for me. But having said that, I still like to write good lyrics. I still put a lot of time into it and try and write something good, interesting. And with the last album, I wanted to do something a bit different, and that's why I went the Scottish route. I was inspired by I moved to the Highlands just during the writing process for this album, and it inspired me to kind of look up different things related to Scotland, like the folklore and different historical events and poetry and stuff like that. And I decided, within the the speed metal, black speed, black thrash. There's not much bands exploring the Scottish, so it gave me something different to write about, even though it's kind of similar to the stuff I've been writing before, just filtered through like a Scottish lens, I guess. And it kind of kept things interesting for me, you know, writing about different stuff and kind of learning and researching about different topics, and yeah.
And aside from the live performances, Hellripper is your band, and you write and record pretty much everything on the albums. Was that something you always intended to do, or have you had any bad experience in a band that led you to this path?
So at the beginning, I've played in bands before and it was all good. But with Hellripper, I wanted to record this style of music, you know, like Venom, Toxic Holocaust, Midnight, like style. And I didn't know anyone at the time. You know, I was like, when I started writing for Hellripper, I was like 15, 16 or something. I can't remember. And I didn't know much other people, much other musicians, or let alone people that were into that kind of music. And being a fan, and the nature of this music, you know, Toxic Holocaust, Midnight, Bathory, Dark Throne, they're all one or two people, very DIY kind of ethos. And I thought, yeah, maybe the solution is to record something on my own because I don't know anyone else. And so I spent a couple of years learning how to write music and how to record music on my own, you know, just by myself, and get a good result with it. You know, it took ages. I recorded an EP. Like the first Hellripper EP was basically recorded like 2 years before the actual EP, but I thought it sounded horrible, and so I deleted it and then kept working, learning how to record, like improving my abilities at mixing and all that kind of stuff. At the beginning, it was kind of just out of necessity, like I didn't know anyone to do it, and the goal was kind of to, like, hopefully there'll be a band eventually. But after doing it this way for a few years and stuff, I realized I prefer the process of working alone much better than working in a band context. It just makes more sense to me. I can do it whenever I want. You know, I've got no other people. I don't have any other people's schedules to adhere to. You know, there's no arguments. There's no. You don't need to book studio time for a certain time. You don't need to book rehearsals for a certain day of the week. Whatever. It's just kind of everything on my own terms. And I found that I just enjoy working like that a lot more than being in a band. And so Hellripper is now a one-man band by choice now, just because I just enjoy it. It's my favorite thing to do, like writing music. It's whenever I'm bored, whenever I'm doing nothing, I'm always playing guitar, writing music and listening to music and stuff. So it's just the process that I like. You know, other people prefer other ways. You know, a lot of people hate writing on their own and they want a band context, and they want other people to collaborate with, you know. There's no correct way to write a song. There's no, you know, whatever. It's just whatever people prefer. Different things work for different people. Different results come from different collaborations between different people, you know. So there's advantages and disadvantages, I think, for being on your own and in a band. And I think for me, the advantages outweigh the disadvantages of doing things on my own. And I just prefer it this way now.
Nice. I have one final question, and
Yeah.
what are you currently listening to? Doesn't have to be metal. What are currently enjoying? What is in your rotation?
So I've been listening to the new Tribulation stuff that they've released. Like the couple of singles they've released so far, which is great. I recently got back into loads of stuff like I've been listening to a lot of trying to, you know, getting inspiration for the new album, trying to listen to a lot of stuff. I mean, I was listening to this during the last album, but it's kind of different stuff like Manic Street Preachers and Oasis, Stereophonics, Stone Temple Pilots, like this kind of stuff, to try and get inspiration for like kind of production ideas and song structure ideas and different ways of doing things to put into a black metal context, I guess. So I've been listening to a lot of that. The new Spectral Wound, I listened to that, to be fair. That's killer.
You tour with that band, right?
Yeah, we toured with Spectral Wound 2022, I believe. Excellent band, sick people, like so cool. Like they're doing well. Their new album's amazing. So shout out to those guys. What else I've been listening to? Like I say, while on tour as well, it's difficult to listen to music because I've just got constant music going on all the time, and then you're with people, so there's, usually I listen to music when I'm on my own or, walking to the post office and stuff like that. But being on tour, I'm with people all the time, and like I say, it's venue, hotel, bed every day basically, and then on the drives we kind of listen to stuff. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else I've been listening to. Loads of Zeke, loads of Opeth.
Yeah, I was going to ask about Zeke because you're always with the t-shirt live, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's my go-to stage shirt at the moment, just because it fits me the best, I think. So I've been wearing the Zeke t-shirt all the time. Yeah, everyone's asking me like, how many of those do you own? And it's like, just one. I do wash it. But yeah, any photo from the past while, you can see me in that Zeke t-shirt. They're one of my favorite bands. It's just, you look at like live videos of them and they do like 40 songs in an hour or something like that. It's just 1, 2, 3, go, 1, 2, 3, go. Just 1 minute songs, 5 guitar solos per song. It's just proper punk. And yeah, I mean, I can't remember what else I've been listening to. Loads of stuff just off the top of my head. But yeah, I'm always looking for new stuff and listening to new stuff when I can, and new bands, rediscovering old releases that I'd never given a chance to and stuff. I try and listen to a wide array of stuff, to help with Hellripper's music, especially, bringing different influences from different time periods, different styles, different.
That's great. Also, adding another question: is there any Brazilian bands that you know of that you listen to?
Yeah, one of my favorite bands of all time actually is Whip Striker. If you know Whip Striker, it's like a kind of black speed metal punk, whatever. Again, one of the biggest influences on Hellripper as well at the time, discovering this style of music. It's a one-man band as well. I'm not sure if it still is a one-man band, but I know he recorded stuff on his own, or at least very DIY in the beginning. And I think it might only be 2 of them now, or the last album's like 2 of them or something. So that was a big influence, kind of metal punk, just very Venom kind of sounding stuff. Yeah, Whip Striker is amazing. And then, of course, Violator, of course, yeah. One of the bands I discovered with at the beginning as well, with Evil Warbringer, all that kind of stuff. And we played with them last year, I think it was, and I met a couple of the guys, spoke with them for a while, and really nice guys, and ridiculous band, like fast. I mean, if anyone's not familiar with Violator, go look up their YouTube, like the shows on YouTube. It's just constant. It's absolute mayhem, absolute carnage, like 50 people diving off stage at one time, and yeah.
That's awesome. James, thank you so much for coming to the show, coming to the
Thank you,
channel.
man.
And I'd like to leave you a space for you to speak to the Brazilian audience, for the people that are watching us, and send a message to your fans.
Yeah. Thank you all for supporting us for the past 10 years. Really appreciate it. Hopefully we'll get to Brazil and South America soon, maybe with the next album cycle. But for now, yeah, you can check out Hellripper on Instagram, Facebook, Bandcamp, Spotify, all that kind of places. And yeah, all hail the goats.